we have met on a very, very good occasion, because we are talking about a peaceful election. And I honestly want everyone to make up his mind or her mind that we shall have a peaceful, proper election, and that way we shall have peace for this nation, and that elections will end these things we are thinking of as if it's going to last a long time. Elections will be one day, and it will be finished. And let us make sure it is finished. It's only ourselves who can do it. And every one of us must make up his mind. We want a peaceful, fair, and proper election, and then we should all accept it, so that there is no way you are going to have a chance to rule by force. No, ladies and gentlemen, we who are here and those who will be candidates, we are all here and many others are not here. We shall all be candidates. And why don't we make up our mind to accept peaceful election? It's one day and we finish. Next day, we go back to normal work. Ladies, seriously, the more you think about it, the more you'll make up your mind. That is what we need as a nation. And the point, my own point of view, having been now in so many elections and so many other things, and having gone through all those elections, I know for sure that this time Kenyans will make up their mind to have a peaceful election and to build the Kenya. We can see what we are going to build, but surely there is nobody who is so blind he does not see what we are building. I mean, every fellow can look around the country and see what we are building. Then ask yourself, why does that election, why is it presumed it's going to be so important that it is the one thing, it must spoil all this what we are building? We must not accept that. We must accept the normal thing that we are in a peaceful country. We want a peaceful election, and that election will end up peacefully, and it will be finished. And that we shall go on building what we are building now, and we can see what we are building. We can see it. You know, at that time when we had an election last time, I was thinking about peaceful peacekeeping for children to go to school, all of them. And any one of you who has thought of children, that you have children in this nation who were being left out of school and could not go to a school and were going to be without education. And then you had to make up your mind. Let us have peace. Let us educate every one of the children, and whoever is going to lead, he will lead, and God will bless him. I'm quite sure. I have no doubt whatsoever that this is where we are headed to. And I'm sure the way we are going right now, we are going to head that way. And I want to plead to every one of you, not just the candidates. No, it's not just the candidates. It is you, the competitors. You are the people who create the atmosphere in which peace is not honored, in which people do not want peace. This group which is in this conf hall can make a decision. We can make a decision. We shall have a peaceful election. And that peaceful election will be one day on the 4th, and that we will finish, and we shall go back to building the nation. And that we shall bring up our own children in that surrounding. I'm quite sure that is the way we shall succeed. And I'm sure that is the way we want, this is the way we want to do. But when you have some few individuals, they will go around and talk to every candidate, and they promise him, oh, we shall do everything. We shall make, hata tutapigania hii kitu mpaka tupate. Hakuna haja ya kupigania. Unampigania nini? Tafadhali, hata ukiwa unataka huyu mtu akusaidie, au pengine mtu ana pesa nyingi anatoa, na wakati huu ndio wakati wa kutoa pesa yote. It is true. I mean, hata ikiwa wewe unataka hiyo pesa, wewe kubali tu, persuade him. Itatolewa na wewe utaipata, na kama huipati basi itakuwa ni makosa yako. Kweli? Kwani ni makosa ya nani? Manake mimi no, ladies and gentlemen, mambo haya inahitaji kuzungumzwa wazi. Hakuna haja ya watu kuogopa. Hata unakwenda kumuona huyo, unakwenda kaone fulani usiku, nataka fulani mchana. You know, it's not right. Please let us do it whichever way you want to do it, but by all means allow everybody to vote according to his own mind, to make up his mind. I am pleased that all of you have made up your mind that all children will get a bit of education. And I hope we will all get a good education. I hope we shall get all of them to go through primary and go ahead beyond that. It will be wonderful. But I really hope that we shall keep up with whatever else we decide. However, ladies and gentlemen, shall I read this speech all the same? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to preside over the opening of this historic conference on peaceful elections. This gathering brings together Kenyans from all corners and sectors of our country to celebrate on how to ensure that Kenya remains peaceful before, during, and after the forthcoming general election. We go through that stage. We make up our mind. That's the only thing we are really called upon now, to make up our mind. We'll go through that peacefully. There will be no violence and nobody will lose. We don't want to lose. I call upon you to engage in constructive dialogue in order to come up with practical measures to promote and sustain peace throughout the electoral cycle. We are also gathered here on the second anniversary since the promulgation of the Constitution that heralded the birth of our Second Republic. It is therefore fitting that on an occasion like this, we reflect on the journey we have traveled, the milestones we have achieved, and look back on the lessons learned in the 2 years period. First, I wish to thank all the Kenyan people who overwhelmingly voted to adopt the Constitution. I thank you. We have a great Constitution. And those of you that have not read this Constitution, please get a copy and ask for us to give you copies if you don't have, so that you can read it. If you haven't read it, it is terrible to miss it. I also commend all the government agencies, institutions, and individuals who have worked tirelessly to ensure that we implement the Constitution. I commend members of Parliament for rising to the occasion and passing the necessary legislation to anchor our Constitution. On its part, the government has facilitated the establishment of institutions and created other mechanisms for promoting democracy in our country and creating avenues for economic prosperity and social cohesion. Amongst the measures we have taken is the creation of several specialized commissions. These include the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, and the Commission on Administrative Justice. These commissions have helped to bring matters of peace, justice, national reconciliation, and integration at the center of our national discourse. In addition, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is now fully operational. This commission holds an important place in our electoral process, as it is the body that will plan and manage the forthcoming elections. The government fully supports the work of the IEBC and will ensure that the Commission has the necessary resources it needs to conduct a free and fair elections. Similarly, I am pleased that the judiciary has begun putting in place mechanisms to deal with electoral offenses and disputes. An impartial, fair, and efficient judiciary is a key component for peace, stability in any country. Indeed, a fair and expeditious hearing in the event of an election dispute is a key pillar of any democratic process. Additionally, police reforms are underway, and the government is in a process of recruiting additional police officers to maintain law and order. It is, however, important for all of us to realize that while the police have the responsibility of ensuring security during this electioneering period, all citizens have the primary responsibility of maintaining peace. We have that responsibility because that is the only reason why we can have a developed society. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the elections, the government will use the education sector as an important avenue for the promotion of a culture of peace amongst Kenyans. As we appreciate schools, colleges, and universities as suitable forums where personal and national identities, values, ideas, and ideologies are formed. Through the Ministry of Education, the government initiated the Peace Education Program. The program strives to enable people to take personal responsibility for promoting peace by adopting non-violent means of resolving conflicts. The peace campaign that will use a peace torch to symbolize unity of all Kenyans. Through a relay from one county to another, the peace torch will spread the message of peace, respect, friendship, and unity. The theme of the campaign is education for peace, making the voice of young Kenyans heard. The peace torch we are launching today is an expression of our desire to bequeath our generation and generations to come a legacy of peace and prosperity. So, ladies and gentlemen, as the government does its part, I call upon political leaders and their supporters to play a leading role in facilitating the conduct of free, fair, and peaceful elections. I encourage you to preach peace and to conduct yourselves in a manner that promotes unity in our beloved country. Let us remember that Kenya is one indivisible nation. We must jealously guard against forces that will seek to divide us along clan, ethnic, regional, or religious lines. It is therefore disheartening that in the last few weeks, several Kenyans have lost their lives in intercommunal skirmishes. While the government does not part to maintain law and order, while the government does its part to maintain law and order, as leaders we must speak to our people at the grassroots on the need for peaceful coexistence. Those who incite communities to fight their neighbors must have no place in a modern Kenya. There is enough room for all Kenyans to live together peacefully. As we devolve responsibility to the 47 counties, this message must be reinforced among all Kenyans. Let us guard against reckless utterances and actions that compromise the keeping of peace. In this regard, I appeal to the media to be responsible and impartial in their reporting, since the country is looking up to them for information on important national issues regarding the election. I call for accurate, objective, and balanced reporting by our media houses, but before, during, and after the general election. The media fraternity must see themselves as partners in the creation of the prosperous and peaceful Kenya that we aspire to build. Finally, I urge all Kenyans to be peaceful and respect the rule of law as we approach these historic elections. A peaceful and just election and smooth transition will send out a clear message that Kenya is the democratic and economic beacon of our region. Let us all play our individual roles in that realization. With these few remarks, it is now my pleasure to declare the National Conference on Peaceful Elections officially open. And nobody must create too much trouble because of the money. No, it's the only dimension. Why do you think many of these people create this trouble? It's because of the money, and because this nation has made a lot of progress. This nation has big amount of money, and this nation has very big amount of money, I'm assuring you. And I'm quite sure even those whom you see are sitting around here, they are still looking at you, or maybe you there. And imagining what it is you need so that you may talk well about him. That's all. Yeah. Now, if a friend wants you to talk well about him, please do so. But tell him, the most important thing I want to talk about you is that we shall all maintain peace, but everything else, tell him the best way to preach to Kenyans is to preach peaceful elections. That's all. Thank you very much indeed. Asante sana.
His Excellency the President, please be seated. His Excellency the President will now be presented with 10 copies of the regional resolutions that were made here at the Bomas during the National Conference on Peaceful Elections, a presentation that will be made by 10 regional representatives. And we are starting with the resolution made by the Central and South Rift Valley, and this will be presented by Mr. Joseph Pareya.